Hey folks, appreciate you tuning in. We were back this week with a Spaces on X featuring David Fite as we got together to discuss the upcoming LibertyCon put on by Students for Liberty in Washington, D.C., where we will be again like we were last year. It's a phenomenal time. Please come out, check it out. You can get free tickets. If you want, just go contact us on one of our social medias or contact Being Libertarian. Shoot them your name, let them know you want the tickets, and we'll make it happen. There's a few to go around, so make sure you're checking that out. And we appreciate everybody that's tuning in. If you want to subscribe to us, you can always do that at patreon.com/getontap for just $10 a day, $3 a month. Get you into the shows early, the after shows when we get them going. Things have been a little bit slow here lately with, health and kids and weather and everything, but we're planning on jumping on it here very, very soon. And we got some phenomenal guests lined up. Subscribers going to have an opportunity to come up here and hang out at the cabin, shoot the breeze, have a meal. So patreon.com/getontap, or you can subscribe on X as well. You can go over there and subscribe for $3 a month, where same things apply. When we start getting going, we'll be sending out messages, texts, and giving people the opportunity to come hang out with some of these guests. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in, and here's the show.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give a few minutes for folks to populate. We'll be joined by David Fite with LibertyCon and going over that here in just a minute. So, again, I'm going to give just a few minutes for folks to join, and we'll get started probably in about 5 or so minutes.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, David. How are you doing?
Oh, can't complain. Just watched the first little bit of the rigged game that is now the NFL, and this is going to be so. I feel like politics is even less rigged than the NFL at this point. So this is more interesting.
No, I know what you mean. I'm going to give it about 3 more minutes. I'm going to have the Appalachian podcast try to join us and get a few more folks in here, and then we'll get started.
Hell yeah.
For those joining us, we're still waiting on just a couple more people to join up. We'll get started here in 2 minutes, though, one way or the other. So just to give you a heads up on what's going on, 2 minutes, we'll be starting. Thanks a lot. Billy, do we have you with us?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. So we've got you and David here as well, so I think we're good to start.
Excellent.
So just to give a little brief introduction, we're going to be talking about the LibertyCon conference in D.C. coming up February 7th and 8th. This is a conference that we went to last year. Was an incredible time. Another big, really incredible slate of speakers are going to be there. Our good buddy Spike Cohen will be there. The mayor, Glenn Jacobs. Kane from WWE is going to be there. David Friedman, economist, just a bunch of other folks. And, I think more than anything, one of the, not really a speaker, but a character here is going to be the setting. We're going to be in D.C. just a couple of weeks after the inauguration and all of what Trump's been putting in place. So it's going to be an interesting time to be in D.C. one way or the other. But introduce David Fite, who we've got with us. David is going to be deeply involved in LibertyCon up there. I'll let him explain to what extent. I know he'll be on the main stage and on some of the panels, though. So he'll be able to tell us some intimate details about this, which is ultimately going to be just a massive political party in D.C. And I've actually got free tickets that I can offer to folks as well. So, David, I'll let you take over, just sort of give everybody a background who you are and a little bit about LibertyCon.
Hey, thanks so much for the intro. So yeah, as I mentioned, I'm going to be, first and foremost, I'll be one of the main stage speakers at LibertyCon. I'm hosting a panel called From Entertaining to Empowering, where I'm interviewing the actors Mark Pellegrino and Brando Eaton, former ESPN journalist Emily Austin, and then the wrestler Nick Namath, also known as Dolph Ziggler. are all going to be on a panel together talking about kind of their journey from the world of entertainment and media into kind of this world of politics, and they're coming out of the closet story, for lack of a better term, as being, not your typical leftist in Hollywood, having these kind of pro-freedom, pro-free market ideas that you don't see very often in their fields. And definitely when you do, they're usually really quiet about it. So getting them on a stage at an event like this is definitely something different. Really excited about that. But also my media network, Free Speech Media, is going to be there covering the event live. We'll be going live onto Rumble and here and possibly Civil every hour on the hour for 10 minutes, interviewing speakers and sponsors and different people there, and just kind of giving people at home an update of how things are going as it happens, starting about an hour before we kick off Friday night, going through until probably a few hours after we end Saturday. And we will also be recording a bunch of interviews to be released after we get back, just one-on-one sit-downs with a bunch of the speakers and sponsors that are going to be there. So we've got like Corey DeAngelis, Nick Namus, Spike Cohen, Lars Mapstead, Mike Termott, a bunch of these really awesome people that are going to get to be on stage. I'm super stoked. It's going to be an awesome convention. This will be my first LibertyCon, so I'm actually really excited to meet a bunch of new people that I haven't actually got to meet in person before, and see all these great people speak.
Well, that is exciting. And those folks that you mentioned, I know Spike Cohen, Mike Termott, and Corey DeAngelis have all been on the podcast with us. And so, it'll be neat seeing them again in a different setting, being able to talk to those folks. And, for us, I know last year we had Simon and Amos there who were part of the Appalachian podcast as well. I know Amos was dressed up as Abraham Lincoln, which sounds like he'll be doing that again this year. So that'll be fun. And, it's a really, like you said, an interesting and a perfect opportunity to meet other folks in the Liberty, movement, all in, again, the setting that you can't beat in DC. It's going to be at the Westin Hotel. And I know there are still rooms available last I checked. And again, you can get free tickets if you'll send us a direct message on any of our platforms, but Twitter is probably the easiest since we're already here. But if you'll send us a DM with your first and last name and your email address, we can put you on the list to get free tickets, completely free admission to this whole weekend of fun there in DC. So then all you'll have to worry about is your logistics. But tell us a little bit more about your free speech network that you're involved with there, David.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. So Free Speech Media Corp is a media company that focuses on giving people the news, conversations, and events that typical old corporate media won't cover as much. So we've got a few podcasts on, including my two shows, Fight for Liberty and Fight Club. One's an interview show, one's more of a debate/roundtable show. We've got Shut the Punk Up with the emo ANCAP, Ben Weir out of New Hampshire. We'll be adding a few more kind of conversational podcast style shows coming up this year. We've also got news and event coverage similar to what we're doing at LibertyCon, and we'll be doing other events like that throughout the year. I've got most of my summer booked out just going to a whole bunch of events and getting to kind of help them broadcast what they've put together out into the world and make sure that people that maybe can't make it, they can still see some of the great speeches and concerts and different things that are being put on by Liberty organizations all over the country. So I'm really excited about some of the stuff that we get to do and really just promoting the other people that are out there making the world a freer place and fighting for liberty and freedom, whether that's politics or activism or business or media or music, however it is that you're getting that message out there. We at FSM like to help spread it even further if we can.
Well, that sounds good. Billy, what do you have to tell us from the Appalachian podcast side?
Oh, well, I was kind of just curious of how David got in contact with Students for Liberty, how that kind of relationship came about, where he learned from it, and how his trip this year came to be.
Oh, sure. I can talk a little bit of that inside baseball. Honestly, the panel was partially because I know and am friends with Mark Pellegrino and have had him on the show a couple of times and hung out with him in person a few times and set up some other like in-person events with him. So they really wanted Mark to come, and I was the only person they knew that could help make that happen. And so they were like, "Hey, if you get him there, we'll have you host whatever we put him on." And I was like, "Deal, I can work with that." So that's how the initial kind of invite to host the panel came about, was a little bit of just connections, but also a lot of the organizers at SFL are people I've known, some of them since before they even started working there. So like Jess Mears and Brian Lambrecht are both two of my better friends who are making most of this event work. So I've been honestly knowing a little bit more of the back end and the things that are going on than I probably should early on, but it's been fun.
But
Yeah,
Jess and Brian are.
Yeah, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, what Brian's awesome. I haven't had a chance to speak with Jess quite as much as Chip has, but I've known Brian for a couple of years now, and he's the reason we actually went up there last year. And unbeknownst to us, we get up there and there's some slack jaw hillbillies from the mountains, and the Students for Liberty conference. I encourage everybody to give it a chance because there's people from all over the world, from every country you can think of, and they're coming and trying to kind of like put together these liberty ideas we have in America and take back, with them and kind of incorporate them into the things they're doing, and just the amount of different people you get to meet, the amount of people that the reach you get is far. I mean, last year, what was it, Chip? We got invited to go back to Students for Liberty in Europe to Georgia for that convention, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's right. And that was wild. I wish we could have made that happen, but it's an international event, and it's hard to explain that to people that the people you're going to meet at this conference are from everywhere, and you get ideas and views that you're not used to seeing, and they're as excited as others might be to see these ideas and ask questions from people who live these ideas in person when they don't might not get that experience where they're from. So it's that international aspect of it is really cool.
Yeah, it's very personable. You walk around and you get to talk to all these different folks, and a lot of them are coming up to you and asking questions. Of course, like Chip said, that we had Abraham Lincoln and General Cornwallis walking around last year, so the attention was thick and heavy on them because people were just kind of curious. And it's an icebreaker, and it starts up conversations. And not only those people, but a lot of the guests that come around there. They're walking around, they're being interactive. They're kind of talking to people. You're getting some words with them. I know last year we went and set up, and we had Jaden, the base backpack kid, and his mother come on the show for a bit and hear his story, which was really interesting. Of course, we had Spike come on the show, and Topher Field, film director in Australia, him and Simon, I guess, went toe to toe on the rum last year to see who could empty their glasses the fastest. And it made for one heck of a show. I mean, these people are very forthcoming and they're very open, and it's such a good time and such a good opportunity to learn some things and to meet some new people. Have a couple of drinks and lay loose. It's nothing that's, I mean, it's kind of formal, I guess, but it's very informal as far as the atmosphere and how people are and how open they are to just hanging out and having a conversation. So it's an absolute blast, and big thanks to Brian for a lot of the stuff he does for making sure we got up there to it last year, because I'd hate to miss it in a year moving forward as much fun as we had last year.
Yeah, it's going to be, if it's anything like it was last year, which we're going to have to be careful that it's a little more tame this year, given what all did happen last year. But I know the setting there at the Weston's a really good place to have it. And it's downtown DC. So I encourage anybody who's got some connections or contacts up here, or, might have a couch they can sleep on, get up here and get to this conference. And there's also rooms available too. But whatever you got to do, get up here for it, because it's going to be a lot of fun bringing all these people into one area, and especially with the crew they've got. I haven't gotten to shake Kane's hand yet, but I've got to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's one of the people I'm most excited to see again. I got to interview him a couple of years ago at Young Americans for Liberty convention, and it was completely out of nowhere. I didn't make the interview happen. The person who was running my communications at the time did, while I was on doing another interview. And so I'm trying to decompress after an interview, and all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, you got 25 minutes? We got Kane for you." And just had to pull an interview out of my ass, and it was a lot of fun. Way more excited to see him again now that I actually can plan for it.
Well, that's the cool thing about this, is that something like that can fall in your lap at this. You'll have those folks coming through, and they'll have some time to kill, and boom, there's Kane sitting at your table, and you've got questions to ask. And so it's really cool for that. I encourage folks to check it out. check the lineup of folks coming, the vendors that are going to be there. It's a perfect mix of folks there. I know you talk about Brian and Jess. Jess has been connected with the Liberty Movement, previously the party, and after that, I know with Students for Liberty. So the folks that put this on do a great job. They know what they're doing. Again, if folks are just joining us, I can get you free tickets to this event for the whole weekend. Just send me a direct message of Being Libertarian. Give us your first and last name and your email address. That's all we need, and we can put it in our spreadsheet and get you free tickets for the whole weekend, February 7th and 8th at the Weston DC for the Students for Liberty LibertyCon conference. What else do you want to talk about with regard to the conference?
So we can talk about some of the cool sessions that they're putting together and some of the different panels. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty excited. They're doing like I forgot what it was actually called, but an entrepreneurship panel with Lars Mabstead and Spike Cohen and Glenn Jacobs. Or it's like three of the names we've said the most already. And so all of them together on the stage at once is going to be really cool. And talking about something, other than politics, which we're used to hearing them talk about, but they've got experiences and a lot of good experiences elsewhere. So it's cool to see some of these people are just like giving their typical stump speeches that they give everywhere and informing people about their organizations and whatever. And that's awesome. But it's also really cool to see that the organizers are kind of pulling people slightly not out of their comfort zone per se, but out of what we're used to seeing them talk about.
Yeah, and I saw something that seemed really innovative and cool that I think a lot of people will appreciate in the Liberty Movement is that they're going to have a job fair at this thing, where they're going to have a lot of these vendors and folks that are around, internationally are going to be here and have an actual time for them to talk about jobs that they have available, and folks can go around and get information from them while they're at the conference. So I thought that was really innovative and really cool. And so if there are folks out there looking for work within the movement, or might be completing a job now and need a new one, this is a good place to go and sort of make those, if you're not even just making general connections, you can actually connect to a job here. So I thought that was an innovative way and something new that they've added that they did not have last year.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah, for the people.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
People that are listening, could you kind of explain what the breakout sessions and the panels are? Because we're going to end up releasing this as kind of a podcast show here in a couple of days, and some people are going to be listening, won't have the ability to ask questions. But in case they're kind of wanting to go up there and they're interested in it, I'm not sure if they know what the panels and the sessions are. So kind of explain what that is real quick, if you don't mind.
All right, I'll take this one. So yeah, there are there's two different breakout rooms and then a main stage. So there are going to be I think it's fairly seldom that there's too much going on in both places at once. I think it's kind of when there's a break on the main stage, there's a couple of different breakout rooms you can be in, and like a little bit before it starts on Friday, I think there's a couple of breakouts. So there's these smaller, a little bit more intimate, a little bit more, interactive with the audience type events that are going to be going on, but still both panels and single speakers, but in a room of 25 to 75 where you can actually ask questions and get responses and have a real conversation with the people in the audience, versus the main stage, which is going to be a couple hundred people, possibly even over 1,000. You're not really getting that intimate back and forth. So you can kind of pick and choose where you're going to be. If you're on the website, you guys can all go to libertycon.com/sessions if you're specifically looking for the schedule, and you can choose either breakouts or main stage at the top of that screen and kind of narrow it down from there.
Excellent. I appreciate that, because I know some people will go look at the website and they're probably going to be curious as to how that whole works, how all that works out. But it is really interesting. Like you said, it's very intimate setting for the breakout rooms, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but once you get in there and you have an opportunity to speak and meet a couple of these people, it's pretty fun. And I'm kind of curious, Chip, I don't know about you, but I'm curious to see what the atmosphere in D.C. is going to be like now that Trump is in office, and This is kind of, I guess, as far as I know, the first big Liberty conference in D.C. since his administration took over. And there's a lot to talk about there as well. I mean, this week he just freed Ross. I know that was a big deal at the Libertarian Party National Convention, and the topic was, is always big in Liberty circles. So the fact that he's already came out and kept one of his promises, I mean, it looks really good for the Liberty movement moving forward. And they said this will be the first event in D.C. since his administration took over. So that's got to have a little bit of credence.
There's no doubt it'll be interesting to see sort of the temperature of DC, because you could tell, I mean, a distinct different temperature, I would say, last year, because last year's conference was about the same time. So it'll be interesting to see that since he has released Ross like he said he would. Also just recently, Angela McArdle resigned as the chairperson of the Libertarian Party. So that will probably be a hot topic as well. I mean, who's going to be the next leader? I know we've had some conversations on our posts just in the last 48 hours, with different folks, and they're looking at who's going to be the next leader, who's going to be leadership, and sort of what direction that leader will take the party. So there's a lot of interesting things and topics. I think this is going to be a perfect time to have this conference up there. It's so yeah, I think there's going to be a lot for everybody to talk about, and I think it's going to be hot topics for people. So it doesn't really fit if you're even conservative and you're conservative. Come to this. It's a liberty based event. You can come and sort of explore those ideas with other like-minded people, and maybe get some things in front of you that you've never seen before.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to be there, and Being Libertarian is going to have a table there. So come up to those guys, and we're going to be standing there with him, and hopefully have our equipment set up somewhere around the main area to try and get our podcast in and get our interviews in. Last year it was we just, we went in there, we winged it. So that's kind of how it's going to be this year. We'll probably send out a couple of fillers to see if we can get a couple of these people lined up ahead of time. But we stand there at our table and talk to anybody and everybody that comes by, and people have a drink in their hand, and they'll come offer you a drink and just sit there and chit chat for a minute, and it really is a lot of fun. I can't emphasize enough how much fun we had last year, and way out of our element, but that kind of works. It's good to get out of your element sometimes, and kind of go somewhere where you're a little uncomfortable, and see how it pans out. Man, it was such a blast. I'm so excited to get back up there this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it sort of shakes out with everybody. Let's turn it over for just a minute before we sort of wind it down. Any questions that anybody might have for us? Again, I'll say it one more time. If you want free tickets to the event, just send us a direct message on any of our platforms at Being Libertarian. All we need is your first and last name and your email address, and we can put it out there and get your free tickets.
Yeah, and obviously we're trying to get people to get there to DC, but if you can't make it, everything that will be on the main stage will be live streamed on civil.com. And so you can go on over there, or any of their apps, whether it's like the TV apps or the mobile apps, and watch all the action live. But it'll be a lot more fun to be there for sure.
Yeah, what are you looking forward to most, Chip?
Again, I think actually getting to sit down with, we'll have to work on this a little bit, but actually getting to sit down with Glenn Jacobs would be fun. I'm jealous that David got that opportunity, but it would be cool to sit down with him, especially since, Tennessee, and specifically Knox County, is just over the line, not too far, from us. We've all been through Knoxville before, and, know the state of Tennessee well. So especially with the Appalachian experience, it'll be good to sit down with him and actually get to pick his brain a little bit. And, what I want to know is what his future plans are. He's been that mayor for a while now, and he's been, just somebody that's been loved and beloved in the liberty movement. So I'm interested to see what his next move is, because things seem to be moving around with a lot of politicians right now.
Yeah, I'm super interested. Obviously, sitting down with Spock again. It's always a lot of fun getting to catch up with him. Outside of him, I'm right there with you. If we could get Glenn Jacobs on, being a mayor in an Appalachian county, it kind of fits. It's nice, and I'll try my best not to get too awful starstruck and ask him, wrestling / politics questions, because sometimes I kind of wish he would take some of the things he learned in wrestling and apply them to his politics. But that's for another conversation for another time. But I'm right there with you. I'm excited about it. So, yeah, if you want to get to anybody that might have any kind of questions. We can go that route now, Chip.
Got one speaker approved here. We'll see if, well, I think he just dropped. So I guess he didn't really have a question after all. Oh, there he is. Static George, you have a question for us?
No, I certainly do. So you guys are approval of Trump, right? So
Yeah, I'm going to save us the time with that one. Anybody else have a question?
Looks like we're pretty clear.
All right. Well, David, do you want to any last comments about the conference coming up?
Just definitely, yeah, get your tickets. Hit up BL or us at FSM. Got free tickets, and we can get you guys there. Definitely come swing by the table, say hi to everybody. It's going to be an awesome time, and we are excited for each and every one of you to get your ass to DC. It looks like we did
There's
have
no
some
doubt
questions.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Let's see if we do. Let's see. Here we go. Liberty Seeds, do you have a question?
Hey guys, not a question in particular, but just wanted to echo everything you guys said. I've been coming to LibertyCon since probably 2014 or so, and it's been honestly one of my favorite events to go to. I think it's they've had Ron Paul speak before. One year Edward Snowden zoomed in, and really to emphasize what was said earlier too about the international aspect of it. It's always really inspirational to meet with so many young people from across the world, from anywhere from a country like Georgia or Uganda or anywhere in between. There's a lot of really young, enthusiastic, liberty-minded people fighting for a lot of things that we might really take for granted over here, and they actually put themselves in a lot of sometimes in dangerous circumstances to kind of push towards the ideal world that we all strive for. So I'm excited for it. We're going to be Liberty Seeds is going to be a vendor there. We're kind of a small startup website that's trying to aggregate all of the organizations and events into one place. So we'll be there, and I'm looking forward to meeting, connecting with all of you guys, and hope to see you all there.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I remember seeing you guys there last year. I thought you all had a really interesting concept. I can't remember if we talked to anybody from your group or not, but I definitely remember you all being there. Maybe Amos probably might have said something to one of you all, but hey, you make a very good point too. A lot of these people are coming from places that kind of frown upon liberty and free thinking and things like that. So, for us, it's easy just to make a trip up to DC, but a lot of these people, especially with their government's extreme surveillance state and things of that nature, and finding out where they're going, it can be dicey for some of them. That's a really good point.
Yeah, and I agree with all those points you made about the conference and the speakers you mentioned. That this is one of the better Liberty conferences out there. So again, I know we're stumping for the place, but there's no doubt that you're going to get your money's worth, and in this case, you're going to have the tickets free for you. So there's no reason to miss it. But it's an extremely fun time, and again, it's basically just an excuse to party with like-minded people in DC, and especially this time after the inauguration, it's going to be wild. Well, I guess we'll wrap up there. Enjoyed it, fellas. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out, Billy?
I believe somebody had one more question right there. Ekti, I can't pronounce that. Pinger.
Ekte. Yeah, anyways, do you guys really think Trump is a libertarian? Because for me, with all these tariffs and stuff, he doesn't sound like a libertarian. I wish he was, but...
Yeah, I think he's about the closest thing we've got at this point to a libertarian, but I can't say that I can call Trump full-on libertarian. There's no doubt that the tariffs, among some other things, point to that not being the case. So, yeah, I can't say that Trump is a libertarian. I agree with your view on that, but I do see a few things that I don't think I would have seen from the other party that he's done. So I can't say that I'm too upset with that.
I'm kind of worried about all these tariffs because America is running a trade deficit, and imposing tariffs on so many countries you import from is going to make prices go up.
If I could chime in, I think one of the things I've always loved about LibertyCon is that it's more about ideas at this conference and less about politics and candidates and voting. So it's really, really great to dive into a lot of these discussions and debates, and there's always there's an audience Q&A portion. So I would encourage you to come or chime into the live streams and have these conversations, because they, I think it all starts with ideas, and then it trickles up to politics and whatnot. So ideas matter.
Yeah, I'm happy that Javier Milei won. He's actually doing everything right so far. So let's see if he can get the privatization of the government companies. That would be a big move.
That would be a big move. And I agree with you. The question about Trump and tariffs is an absolute good one. And a lot of libertarians share that same concern. So I agree that that's a topic, especially at the LibertyCon conference, that would be ripe for conversation and probably for several of these panels.
The problem with Trump is he's loved tariffs for like 40 years or something. So I don't think he's going to change his mind. I was hoping Javier would change his mind, but it doesn't look like it.
That's right. Maybe he can over time. And as Javier gets more popular, I think he's the most popular in South America right now. And why wouldn't he be with what he's doing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping he's going to go global, but we'll see what happens.
Well, it's not too late. It seems to be that Trump used these tariffs quite a bit as a strong arm tactic. As we saw earlier, he had threatened Colombia, and they switched their viewpoint right around pretty quickly. So it's yet to be seen. We'll see how it works out. A lot of it might just be, tactics he's using just to try and strong arm people, mouth warfare, whatever you want to call it. But you're right. It's not a very libertarian thing in the grand scheme of things, but so far it just seems to be used as something to like strong arm countries, and how far he decides to go with it's yet to be seen. But I'm with you. I wish people would around the world would start adopting Milei's tactics a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, I actually wrote on my blog about economics in 2013 that Argentina is going to have a massive inflation, and I actually translated it into English. I made a YouTube video about it, and at the end of the video, I hoped that Javier Milei would win, and then he fucking won.
Yeah, he shocked the world with that.
Yeah, that was a fun thing to watch happen live.
Yeah,
for sure.
But what I don't also understand about him is he's aligning with the guy from Hungary and the Italian right wing, and he thinks they're all libertarians, but I don't see it. So I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I think part of it is the word libertarian means different things to different people, and especially in different countries. So I think it's key to do what you're exactly doing, which is keep an eye on things and just sort of see how they act. Because libertarian is sort of a hot name right now too. I mean, people want to be associated with that, and so they might call themselves libertarian even though they're not, just to get that view.
I don't quite understand how Elon Musk is a libertarian after receiving billions in ZV credits and so many other business deals. But that's kind of strange.
Indeed. Well, any other questions that anybody has for LibertyCon? We'll give one more shot here for people to chime in, and then we'll probably call it a night. But I think we've had really good comments and discussion about it. I think you've gotten a good snapshot of what the convention entails. And again, it's February 7th and 8th at the Westin in downtown Washington, D.C. Send us a DM if you want free tickets. I think the tickets are like $50. That's $50 you don't have to spend for the trip. Just give us your first and last name and your email address and our DMs, and we can get it for you.
Hell yeah. Make sure you go and follow these guys. The Appalachian podcast is great. Being Libertarian, post some of the fucking best memes on this platform. Make sure you're following both of them before you get out of here. And Liberty Seeds, they're doing some really cool stuff. I'm excited to be in the booth next to them in DC and get to talk about all of what they're doing. So make sure you're following everybody up here.
Is it coming to Europe anytime soon?
I think they have a conference internationally every year as well. Not sure where it is. Do you know, David?
I don't know where it is this year, but I will.
I got it right here. LibertyCon Europe will be in Prague, April 25th to 27th.
Nice.
And just a quick self-promotion here, libertyseeds.com. We aggregate all the liberty-minded events in one place. So just check it out. Hope it's helpful.
Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for that. Billy, do you have anything else? Has Amos got his beard? Has he got his beard ready?
I believe so. I think he's got everything rocking and rolling, and we're all excited about getting back up there again and seeing everybody, and for everybody that helps put this together. We certainly appreciate them, and Brian and Jess and Spike and all the hard work they put into it. Excited about meeting David when we go up there, and the guys from Liberty Seed just go in. Will definitely give us a reason to go speak with them. And I encourage you to go if you're listening to this, either in the spaces or through our podcast, which I'm going to release it as a show. Give us a holler, shoot me a message as well if you want to come and get those tickets, not just a chip, but shoot them to my email as well. If you're in the DC area, it's a blast. Come hang out, see us, have a beer, just talk some shit. It's worth it. It's a nice thing. It's a party. Essentially, it's a party with with some esoteric topics at the dinner table, but no less a party. So just come prepared and come loose and have a good time. We want to see y'all up there.
That's well said. All right, we'll call it there. Enjoyed it, guys. And like David said, give us all a follow. Check us out anytime you can. We love to have you, and we look forward to seeing you at LibertyCon February 7th and 8th.
Thanks, Chip.
Thanks, everybody.
10-4, appreciate y'all. We'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
I hang in there with a rowdy crowd. I drink too much and I laugh too loud. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. I roll my own every now and then. I love a good buzz with a few close friends. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. Won't hear me beg, I'm a bit too proud. I work my ass off for everything that I have. So let's take a drink, baby, raise your glass. This is for the few country boys like me that we still have. Big fan of chasing your dreams. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. The road to the top, it ain't no easy climb, but if you love what you do, I believe you'll be fine. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. You won't hear me beg, I'm a bit too proud. I work my ass off for everything that I have. So let's take a drink, baby, raise your glass. This is for the few country boys like me that we still have. That God and Mama are your two best friends, but most of the time I don't listen to them. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. And I wait at the gates when it's my turn to fly, but I'll still raise hell until the day that I die. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. You won't hear me beg, I'm a bit too proud. I work my ass off for everything that I have. So let's take a drink, baby, raise your glass. This is for the few country boys like me that we still have.